Thank you, Hazel. The last time I was actually here was my wedding reception. So, yeah. So during the seafood fair, if I actually start breaking into a dance move on the dance floor, then please forgive me, I'm just reminiscing. But yes, I'm going to be here to speak to you about the Scotland Food and Drink Export Partnership before passing on to Natalie and Claire to talk about the various different opportunities, and then finally over to Dave and Carl to talk about, right, there's opportunities, how do you get your product to these potential markets? So on your programmes, it says that it's a double act. It's myself and Carolyn Sinclair, but unfortunately, due to the fluidity of various different things, Carolyn can't be here today. So Carolyn is food and drink within SDI, Scottish Development International. So out of courtesy, I have kept this slide up because there was about 4 different slides about SDI. This is really the only one that I can explain. So Scottish Development International is a specialist trade and investment arm of Scottish Government, Scottish Enterprise and Highlands and Islands Enterprise, and are focused on raising the ambition of more Scottish companies to think, compete and trade globally. SDI offer free practical advice and support to guide companies through every step, from research and potential export markets, finding the best routes to market and overcoming challenges, to accessing finance and setting up overseas. So that's the SDI bit. So I'm here to talk about the Scotland Food and Drink Partnership, of which clearly Scottish Development International and Scottish Government are key partners in that as well. We've also got some trade partners. We've got Scotland Food and Drink, we've got ourselves, we've got Scottish Salmon, Scottish Bakers and QMS. This has been 4 years, I'm looking at Graham, 4 years? Yes, this is a 4-year programme, just about to finish at the end of March, and then Export Plan 2.0, which Graham will speak about tomorrow, kicks in, and pretty much more of the same, with the exception that Scottish Bakers will come out, Opportunity North East and ADHB will come in as strategic partners as well. So that's the makeup of the partnership, and they're the ones that we meet on a regular basis to talk about the strategic plan and how we actually execute our export ambitions. Very much aligned to Ambition 2030, in that we aim to double exports by 2030. We are looking to raise the international ambitions of businesses, and we're looking to grow the number of the businesses actually exporting. But ultimately, we're there to widen the product market, the product range, and also the market range as well. You may be aware when you go to various different trade events around the world, you quite often see seafood from Scotland. That's our brand. And that's very much tied into this land of food and drink branding. You'll see the presentation. It's very much the people, product, place. That's the purple background. But then we've got distinguished sort of sub-sectors and sub-brands of that, and therefore that's what, in terms of the seafood context, we concentrate on the seafood from Scotland branding. Very much, again, on the people, product, place. In terms of our reach, in terms of where we want to go, we have various different top prospects. Areas around the world, whether that be Europe, North America, Asia, Middle East. These are the key prospects that we want to concentrate on. Sorry, I'm going to have to get some water. The downside of having a cup of tea just before you speak. Anyway, in addition to those top prospects, in laterally, we've received some extra funding from the Scottish Government, and we now have other sort of tier activity within Spain, within Italy and Benelux as well. And over the time, we've kept a watching brief on places such as India, South Korea and Russia. And then within industry, the Export 2.0, those watching briefs are maybe changing just because they've been investigated. There's maybe not the potential that there potentially was before, and we're maybe now onto different areas for watching briefs. So what does the partnership mean? What does it actually all sort of look like? Well, essentially, we've got 14 people around the world. They're called in-market specialists. We have 3 people in North America, we have 4 based in Europe, and then we have the others around various strategic parts around the world. So they're there in various different locations, and they're working with the trade advisors here in Scotland, whether that be SDI or whether it be our own Seafood Scotland trade advisors or QMS and et cetera, et cetera. So we work together in partnership to actually help businesses understand what the opportunities are and then lay the practical foundations for these businesses to access these markets actually in situ when people are there. But from a seafood perspective, we do our, as I say, we do our own sort of Seafood from Scotland branding, which is very much sort of aligned and in partnership with Scotland Food and Drink, SDI, and the Scottish Government. So in terms of the seafood position, the seafood products that we offer, we go to a number of seafood-specific shows. Last week we were at Seafood Expo North America. Next month, or May, month after, we are in Seafood Expo Global, which is in Brussels. And then later in August, we will be at the Japan Seafood Show in Tokyo. And that is a collaborative, bringing another partner into that. We work with Seafish at the Japan Seafood Show, so we work on that in a 50-50 aspect. But all the work that we do is funded through EMFF in terms of the seafood activity. And again, we're there to try and encourage more seafood companies to trade internationally. We're looking for more existing exporters to enter new markets, and ultimately there to try and strengthen the positioning and the capabilities of the seafood sector and raise the awareness of Scottish seafood on a global market. And I just want to show you an example of what we would do at Seafood Expo Global in Brussels. So this is the world's largest seafood show. Approximately 30,000 trade customers attending that show over the number of days, and we have buyers represented from 144 different countries at that show. So at the show itself, we have a Seafood from Scotland pavilion. Many seafood companies from Scotland are actually based within that pavilion, but we're showcasing 15 different types of seafood species from Scotland, covering whitefish, pelagic, shellfish, and the aquaculture sectors. We have a seafood bar and a meeting place. We also hold an evening reception for the Scottish companies, the buyers and the guests, and along with that we have a social media campaign highlighting Scotland's presence at the event. We also have a range of educational and marketing material that are utilised on the stand, and we have upwards of 50 companies, or in excess of 50 companies actually attending that show in some form or another, whether that be attending the show, exhibiting, or walking the floor. But it's not just these seafood exhibits or these seafood events that we actually concentrate on. We do other in-market activities as well. That may be aligned with some activities that are happening at the events, or it may be separate. And we work with the in-market specialists on these activities. So we get together with them, we look at what actually opportunities there are in the various different respective markets. So there's a couple of examples behind me here. The seafood on display here is actually a retail promotion in Japan with a supermarket chain. And then the other one is, we realized as we were going through this process that the buyers, the interested parties that we're trying to reach out to, are very similar to what Scotch beef are trying to look out to. So what we actually came up with a concept of a surf and turf theme. So we worked very, very closely with Quality Meat Scotland to actually create a series of events in market trying to attract the same buyers and showcase the provenance and showcase the quality of Scottish seafood as well as Scottish meat at the very same time. So that's examples of in-market activity in the respective countries. But we also do stuff at home. So primarily it involves inward missions, whether that be inward missions of buyers or whether that be inward missions of media and influencers. This picture is of a media visit from Japanese media that took place last summer. We had approximately 8 media sort of individuals came across to Scotland. We had them here for about 3 or 4 days, took them from the east coast over to the west coast, showcasing seafoods from Scotland as a whole. And the condition was that we would expect them to write some articles in key media press when they went back. Our expectations were dramatically exceeded in that I think we expected something like 16 articles to be written, and it was in excess of 50 to 60 articles that were written just simply as a result of that. So it does work. And for those of you that don't actually know Japanese or read Japanese, that pretty much says seafood from Scotland is amazing, just in a nutshell. So the other things that take place and where the partnership can actually help businesses, later this year we have Showcasing Scotland. Showcasing Scotland is taking place in early October, and that is an opportunity for seafood companies and food and drink companies in general to meet with prospective buyers in Scotland. At the same time, we will work with these with the buyers and take them to sort of some places in Scotland to showcase the best seafood. We'll take them to Peterhead to sort of showcase the market. We'll take them to a couple of processors, bring them down to Gleneagles, where this massive speed dating event happens, and that's where a lot of business takes place. Registrations open for that on the 1st of April, and they're open for the whole of April, and that's when we're looking for potential companies, potential suppliers to actually register their interest and come along to that event. But before that happens, we also have global insights. I mentioned the 14 in-market specialists that we have around the world. In June, early June, they will all be in Scotland. So they will be here for a Global Insights event, and again, that's an opportunity for businesses and producers to actually go and meet with these people face to face to try and explore the opportunities that exist in those respective markets. You're going to hear just very shortly from Natalie and Claire, who will take a run through the various different markets that they're looking at. And if there's any more questions or any more interest that you would like to sort of follow up, Natalie and Claire will be around after this evening to walk you through any more queries that you might have. The Global Insights event will take place in the Central Belt, normally in Shira Grange, but this year they're coming out to Aberdeen and they're also coming to Inverness as well. So if you can't make it down to the Central Belt, they will be coming up here as well. So there's plenty of opportunity to meet with them and to really explore the export opportunities that there are. So essentially that's me, and I'm now going to pass over to Claire and Natalie, who will give you a walkthrough of the export opportunities that currently exist.